Hi, mindful partners. It's October, and we're just about 8 weeks away from a fight for life, a day retreat for men only, powered by Mindfully Wisdom Shake. And with that in mind, I thought it would be a perfect time to revisit a powerful conversation I had back in June with two of my friends, Onyema and Njamma and Segun Olabode, as part of Men's Mental Health Month. In this episode, you'll hear from two men with shared roots in the same country but now living in different circumstances, one emigrating abroad and the other remaining here in Nigeria but widely traveled. We'll dive into the unique and shared mental health challenges they face. Are these concerns similar, or are there differences driven by their experiences in their different circumstances? Now, don't forget to register for a Fight for Life. Details are in the show notes and across all our social media platforms at Mindfully with Chimshe. Now, let's dive back into this insightful conversation. Enjoy. Okay, Mindfully with Chimshe, the podcast. Today, we're still in June, the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And let me tell you guys what I did. Of course, you guys know that I had a classmate, a former classmate, here on the show about 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks running. And just as the month started, I sent a question to my secondary school group again. I'm sorry, guys, if you don't have roots with your secondary school, I can't help you, but I like to have real strong roots. And I sent a message to the group. I said, I want to ask the men in the group how you would define and describe mental health or ill health and how the society can help. And that we started this amazing conversation. And I said, you slow down, guys. You're coming on the show. Let's go talk and let's see how we can help people. And I'm so excited today that I have in the group. Oh, did I say in the group on the show today? The president of the Command Secondary School of Abakaliki 95 set, Onyema and Segun.
Hello. Hello.
And we have a Basha guest, Senator. How many things do we call him?
My humble name, Olabode. My name,
All right, we call him Baba Shege. He's also served in the ESCO of the Command Secondary School Abakaliki in 95 set. So, guys, let's start from how we started the day we had this conversation. I asked how you will define mental health as against mental ill health. But before we start, first question is, how are you? When I say how are you, you don't say I'm fine. I'm sorry, you can't say I'm fine on the show. Yeah? So think, who's going to answer first? Okay, yeah, Segun.
But the thought of coming to explain just to talk about men, you help it, pick up with it, because every single day it's not always fine. You just try to make it fine. That's just the truth. Because Smisha just said, don't say it's fine. You just say it's fine. That's 4 letter word just to cover up video.
We are pushing.
I'm trying not to say fine.
Yeah, okay. All right. Oh, yeah, ma.
I think I'll just send a message saying I didn't hear Segun clearly.
All right. Okay.
But I guess your question was, how am I? And I'm not allowed to say I'm fine.
Yes, you're not allowed to say you're fine. Yeah.
Surely being fine is a good thing. I mean, it means a certain balance. We're going to talk about mental health. So I would say I'm in a good place. today. I'm feeling good today. So hopefully that's enough.
Feeling good today. And that's fair. All right, so who's going to go first? Who's going to define what does it mean to you personally? Mental health is against mental ill health, or do you even know there's a difference? Who's going to go first?
Okay. Onyema, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So the thing is, in just simple, understandable terms, mental health is state of well-being of a man, that we're discussing in particular. Meanwhile, the illness is the deficiency of it. As we go on now, talk about it. So the stability, mentally, physically, financially, and environmentally. Not environmentally, please. A lot. And environmentally doesn't mean the weather.
Yeah.
Environmentally, where you grow up, how you grow up, what you grow up understanding. Now, the illness is all those things that I've mentioned. What is the deficiency, in that balance? How does it create the deficiency in that balance? Over time, because illnesses doesn't just spring up. One thing gets spoiled, links to another thing. If you're even inclined at all with headache or body pain, you don't just go to work one day and come back with one massive headache. No, it starts with a deficiency, then it becomes a headache before, God forbid.
Okay.
So basically,
all right. Onyema, do you need me to help you rejig your memory, or with the way? But you're good.
I'm good, and it was actually really good hearing from Baba Shege, because I think his definition is comprehensive. The point I was going to make is whenever we hear mental health, maybe just as a society, or maybe it's my own opinion, we immediately think of mental ill health whenever we just hear this phrase mental health. And to Baba Shege's point, there are several emotions, there are several things that drive our moods and our feeling on a day-to-day basis, weekly, monthly. When there is instability in those key things, I think that's when we go to sort of being in this ill health state. So maybe coming back to mental health, for me personally, it has to do with my emotional well-being, my social well-being, sort of my psychological state. Maybe there's probably one or two more things to add, but those are the core ones. If you peel under the surface, you then think about family, financial, and all those other things. But it really comes down to socially, emotionally, psychologically. But I haven't gone on that journey yet to understand which of those, when they become unstable, triggers the ill health for me. Because there are certain things that just don't trigger it, right? There's so many variables to our feeling. Like Baba Shege said, so for example, I like akara. If I don't have akara on a certain day, it doesn't lead me to go into that state, right? But if I then have a situation where there's a financial insecurity, it may then tip me. So there's certain variables. It's just how we give weight to some over the others. And until, maybe I'm jumping ahead already, but until I audit and know the ones that are core to me and the ones that drive me to an ill health situation, then the journey continues. Yeah.
All right. I do not think that you jumped ahead or jumped the gun, but because you just gave me some form of epiphany there, using the akara metaphor. Okay, that you don't eat akara, probably eat akara every Saturday, and somehow your partner decides that, okay, today we're not having akara, not because we cannot afford akara. That might not trigger you, But the day that it might trigger you is because you're not having akara on Saturday because you cannot afford it. Did I get that correct?
Yeah. There you go.
I was going to say, pinpoint that emotion.
Yeah, please pinpoint it. I need you to pinpoint it.
Please do.
So the thing is, the best form of discussion is to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Onyema silently, hinged on all the emotions. I think funny, you hinged on it in a scale of preference. Because and the Akara analogy, spot on. I don't know the kind of people that will listen to this, but everybody should be able to understand.
Okay, for those, because I know I have listeners who are not Nigerians, akara is, I can't call it bean pudding, that would be moi. So it's
bean
like
cake.
Bean cake. Maybe. Yes, bean cake, maybe. Yeah. Fried bean cake. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Not fried.
Go ahead. Yeah, just go ahead.
They want. It is not a need. Because you can have other kind of food. The basics, but that is the one. And to be able to get that one, it must be financially balanced. It is one of the, the emotions. Generally, not just for men, for humans. And for men, carry the burden of providing, in a lot of climates, when that is not, part of, imagine you have children and giving them that kind of meal, and all of a sudden you don't give them, they'll ask you questions, especially children of this millennium, of this time. They would ask you, why are we not having
akara on Saturday
anymore? And you start explaining. Now, what that causes to you, the provider, is there's a glitch. When that glitch happens in your mind, and that glitch, whether you like it or not, reduces your how would I put it? If you have your emotional stability at 20, let me give an example. It will deduct maybe 1 or 2 or something at that point, because they're asking the question. Not that you cannot afford it, maybe because you didn't bring it. It's like, so the people are noticing me. What if I don't have the even provide?
So, okay, now this is going to get me to that question with men's mental health and how it seems. Well, I'm a woman now, so I'm asking, that's how it comes off to me. How it seems that men's identity are tied, or identities, or your identity is tied to providing.
Hey man, can you let me go?
Please do. Because you've already mentioned that word provider. And I think that's one of the source of our mental instability. But please, sir, Baba Shege, all yours.
So the thing is, as we were talking earlier, women are trained to be wives. Men are trained to be what? Men are not actually trained.
Oh wow,
that's the thing. We are.
Do you agree? Hold on. Do you agree that women are trained to be wives, men are trained to be blank?
Let me use better words.
You know what?
Let me use better words.
Let Baba Shige finish, because I live in a different society, and obviously I straddle two, and I will shed the light on both.
Thank you. Okay. All right then.
What is condition? Women are conditioned to be. But that is another conversation. Now, men are conditioned to be provided. What I like to call it is allowed to bring. So, if you are conditioned to be that, and how does it come about? Growing up, your father do it. Yeah? They don't teach you to do it. You see that is what you're supposed to do, and when I'm talking about to teach you, I'm talking about Africa, Nigeria. Everybody should go to me and say, things, abroad. There are different things to this. I'm sure men are providers elsewhere, but the wife conditioning in those clients are different.
That the wife conditioning
the wife
here.
conditioning here.
Hmm.
The wife conditioning here is almost like slavery. But and if you condition a woman, I'm sorry, you'll be a slave. How can she think to support the man?
Whoa.
That's why the man.
Whoa. Okay, did that hit you? Did that hit you the way it hit me?
I heard.
I just have to define that in this client. It's not like that, in the long term. I'm sure we have the same kind of, process in a couple of countries that we have brown skin. I know in Mexico, almost the same thing. In Asia, almost the same thing. India is even worse. The woman pays the bride. It's some client, but let's not go to that. So the thing is, when you're conditioned from, you see it, that this is what you're doing and what you're meant to do, it is already a burden. So, and the burden comes from, first off, you're conditioned to provide for your family that you're coming from, which is your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, your sister,
your siblings, and maybe extended family in some cases. Okay, let's not go there. Okay.
Because you don't get that burden until you can pass through this first burden. So when you provide for your family, then you now move to your extended family. Now, in all this, you've not taken care of yourself. In all this, you've not taken care of yourself. Because naturally, you should take care of yourself. So you move to extended family. Then you will now have, instead of preference of your own family, maybe you choose to get married or not. Then you now take care, or you choose to, have a child. Then you now take care of your child. Then you now take on the burden of your associated, so your wife's parents,
siblings,
so
that.
The same thing that you're taking on this side,
you take on the other side. On the other side, is that a conditioning that comes for men?
That's the conditioning from this client.
Okay, that comes for men. Okay, so let's hold that. So you have been able to juggle both sides of the maybe not continent, two continents at least. Okay, Europe and Africa, Nigeria. How much Africa in Nigeria? So, what is your experience? Are you 90%, 80%, 70% with Shegs?
Good question. And I had my formative years in Nigeria. I had my formative years in that climate, as Shego's defined, and that was what was drummed into me, and that was the upbringing I had from my dad to be a provider. I saw him do that. I was young, I didn't question it, so I just made the assumption that that's the norm, right? And I think to all intents and purposes, as Segun set out, it still is the norm and the societal expectation in Nigeria, definitely. However, where I find myself today, or where I've been for the last 20 odd years, it's different, right? Okay. But the difference and how it plays on the individual are two things, because we're still talking about mental health here, right? So in this climate, in this Western world, it's different. It really depends. We use the term roles. What role are you playing in the family? A woman could be a breadwinner in that family. She may have assumed that role because of her job, because of her career, and this society is actually okay with that. However, where the issue then becomes a problem is where you've had this upbringing from a Nigerian environment that you're the provider, and then you come into a society that defines things based on roles, and you can't be the provider.
Ooh. How did that affect you then?
How does that affect you, and how does that affect your mental health? Or you are the provider, but then certain other expectations or certain things that are needed from you. Because if we go back to Nigeria, maybe things have moved on from when I was there, but if you provide, that's it, right? As in, yeah, I'm providing. Me going into the kitchen to do what? To pick up the child at 2 a.m. Why? I've provided now. Let me go to sleep. But you now find yourself in a different society where, yeah, just providing, okay, fine, that's a role you play. But the family system needs more than that. So that then you need to understand that as an individual that's grown up somewhere else, and how you moderate for that to just balance out your mental health.
All right, so I'm going to go to each of you's initial response when we had this chart in the group. All right, Sheikh, yours is 10 minutes, so we can play it. It's a 10 minutes. You said first a 4 minutes voice note and then a 5 minutes voice note, and then ends with "I'm shy." But
I'm still shy.
Very funny. And Sheikh goes, mental illness is anything that affects the balance of or everything that he said here. But then we go to how to help, and he says, first, understand that it exists for me. And in this climb, we're not allowed to go through the emotions, but just do. So in the doing, support us, care for us, not sex, food, because that is default. But know that we're made to do in the doing, we carry baggages figuratively. So just help us to make the weight lighter. Segun, that was what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So
it doesn't mean that we'll carry weight. Onyema just said it, and what I'm trying to do is try to balance it. So he made some point. In fact, that's the way it is. We humans, you must carry weight. That's why you're not all. That's why we work. Sometimes you just walk to
just to live, yeah.
But that's not how it's supposed to be. That also affects the mental health, and that's not just for men. Supposed to be right. But you see what she just mentioned, rules. Rules. When you carry weight, but if you have somebody to help you lighten that role, it makes it better. It helps with your mental health. It's the role. If they've conditioned you, provide, and you continue to provide, and someone is there to, help you take the bit off.
It's a reunion of commandos here, and we have Coco here. Say hi to Onyema.
Hello, you okay?
In case you don't know Coco
is my brother.
All
right, yeah, he also went to command. All right, go ahead, checking here.
So the thing is, it helps. And when I say help, sometimes people misconstrue this. When you choose, because if you're doing it, remember I went through the motion of you start doing it even before you're married.
Yeah.
When you are doing it even before you're married, you need people to help you offload that burden too. In the climb where we are here in Africa, in Nigeria,
yes.
Parents say, this is your responsibility. No, you have to pay this. They don't come back and say, well done for doing it. Nobody.
True. Very true. Yeah.
They show you to do it. But in another climb, nobody's asking you to do it.
Yes, agreed.
If you do it, you choose to do it. Now, the one that you are made to do is when you are in your own family or your own relationship. That one now, if you understand roles, the roles, like what I've tried to do in my own family, I'll tell my madam, this, how far now? For this, I don't want to mention
a project,
because there's no specific thing, it
can be anything.
It can be anything. How fast? You tell me, okay, what do you have? I said, what do you think? Because it's
the dance.
It's the dance.
Yeah.
Because I know that, yes, conditioning, that my conditioning is still there. Because I don't want to shift the conditioning. I don't want to shift, what she's meant to do. Because know fully well also we should be balanced. Woman, like when you mentioned your children,
do all that.
Do all that. most importantly, they give birth. So we need to understand those rules. What I just simply meant, all the talk is see that part of the man. The part of the man could be a physical part.
And it could be a gift.
See, a physical part, an emotional part, a financial part.
But not sex, because that is default.
No. Not food. Not a massage. That's default.
Oh yeah, man. You're pushing to say something. Yeah, wait. Yeah.
If you're in a relationship that you people gift each other.
Sex.
No, gift each other. It is not a part.
Oh,
it becomes natural.
Okay.
If the things you do on a regular, you don't do it as an extra. I think it is an extra. But the natural ones, food,
it's not the part. No. Oh yeah, you were pushing to say something.
It was just, for me, it was actually just listening to Baba Shege and just reflecting on, given that I've had, I don't know, the privilege to be across two cultures, which is harder on a man in terms of the mental health. That's probably a complex question, but there was something Baba Shege said, which is the expectation in Nigeria is the man is the provider. So looking from the outside in, I may think, actually, that's cleaner. The roles are cleaner. There is no complexity. There's no ambiguity. This thing is clean. But to be fair, and I think Shego picked this up, I could be wrong. Maybe things have changed. I don't live there daily, but Shego, please tell me, is there a level of appreciation for providing? Because in certain situations, it's probably just taken as a given. And the man, you then have that where it's taken as a given, and you then have this society, and we'll come on to this, I believe, Timiche, where you can't speak up about your ill health.
Yeah. So I was going, it's like this place that you guys have gotten is going to take me to where the response I gave to you guys. I really wish I could play. I might still just play it. What you said, but I
think maybe at some time you can add it to the podcast.
Oh yes, you can edit it. Yeah.
I can.
What we said that time we're saying it from the guts.
Yeah.
This one. We know that we are coming on the podcast.
All right, so
so we behave ourselves.
Let's hear this. Let's hear this out. Let's see.
From my own personal angle, that definition holds true. I think for me, mental health is about mainly not just psychological and more emotional well-being. How my mind is, more importantly, mindset, how my mental state is. The social aspect is just something that comes off that, because once the mental state, they one kind, you no go one to just bother with social or just the social aspect. So, I don't know how else to define them. That's how I feel it. And the mind is so complex and they're so unique to everyone that to begin unraveling, we need weeks of conversation. So in terms of the help, I mentioned on there, I think men are just brought up not to talk about these things, to be honest. Discussing it is a sign of weakness. And also, if you look at society, right, most times women will say, I want a strong man. I want a man that's commanding.
Not them.
You will be commanding, strong and imposing when you're having conversations about your fears, your doubts, your concerns, your anxiety, your depression. So the thing, no balance, which is why most times men kind of go the end, which is why I use the word stoic. You're stoic to a fault. Sometimes, obviously, men feel comfortable speaking to other men that are receptive and non-judgmental about these things. And one thing I've learned just generally, they say people are more prone to talk and be open when you don't make eye contact. Very minor.
I'm shy.
So imagine you're going for a walk with someone and both of you are looking into it, and you'll probably get more out of them than eye to eye, staring them, especially with men. So I don't give you what you have to. You can put me for some more, but in terms of podcast, I'm very, very shy. To be sure, you know
I'm
me.
shy.
Very shy person.
Okay, so he said it. There's another, the other. Sorry, guys, I had to stop that because the other one is just for the group. That's where the other one is for just not Pfizer. So, and based off of that, I said on that conversation, I think I got this. And as Onyema said, dreads, as we call her, women expect the men to be stoic and nice, which is okay. We can't take that away from the Adamic nature of the world in men. Women also want a vulnerable man, but I'm not sure most women can navigate a sensitive man. I stand to be corrected. So you guys did not correct me that day. So in your experiences, I don't know how many girlfriends you guys have had. Let's not open our
On this podcast.
On this podcast.
That's not.
Let's just take a break and say that Onyema's PG is gone. You not get PG again.
You get to.
What?
You get pigeon now.
Baba Shege, no mind that. See my pigeon enter.
Environmental factor. If you want to affect the mental speaking head.
Right,
no. See, there is trauma there.
There's trauma.
I don't mind them.
Because
even if your pitching go up, we understand.
He still enter because you heard that saying, too foreign for here, too foreign for home, never enough for both. So you're not telling me that the home where I don't feel foreign, my pigeon don't land.
I apologize.
You'll kill chicken for me.
I will kill. So you guys didn't answer that. Do you think women can truly embrace sensitive men? Do you think in your experiences?
Okay, you just entered something that I wanted to even answer from what you said.
Okay.
Like I said it from the beginning, condition. Women are conditioned with a certain time, different time. And check it, in most times, when a man goes to take a woman's hand in marriage, they go ask her, say, what did the guy they do for you? Which work will they do? Meaning, he's supposed to be provider from the get-go. That's the conditioning, yeah? But you see, at that point, that woman's mind had not been, maybe not conditioned that much because they might be fellow classmates, just living, managing themselves. But you see the conditioning from asking, is that guy a provider? No, you cannot marry somebody. That's what they are saying. Now, what they are conditioning that woman, I'm not holding forth for anybody, is to know that if that man cannot do it, he is not a man. Number one.
So you're saying now, so that we get this clearly.
Yes.
You're saying, because maybe this might help the gender wars that are out there.
Yes.
You're saying that it's not necessarily the women's fault, but because they've been conditioned to believe that the man should be a provider, and he's not a provider, his fault.
Yes, the same way, a man gets mentally low when he cannot provide and cannot ask for help because they've conditioned him. But when he leaves to another clime, that the condition is different. That the reason for mental health is not because you cannot provide, it's because you cannot even help her to do kitchen work. you understand?
Yeah.
No.
You check face dreads.
Yeah, because if you cannot help her to do the kitchen work in another clime, because maybe you don't have time, that is another thing. But I'm basing off my own environment here, which is Africa and Nigeria.
Yes.
Women are conditioned. This man must be a provider from the get-go. If he doesn't provide, I don't want to talk about this generation. Ask them, they will say, no, I cannot marry a man that doesn't earn
No, we hear it on social media all the time. Every single day when someone is saying that if you can't buy me this, if you can't, and I'm wondering,
that any girl that chooses to stay with a boyfriend that doesn't have so much has a name.
Please, what's the name?
The name is Understanding Girlfriend.
Oh, okay, that's true. I've got that.
You see this funny thing?
Yeah.
That's actually that is not a thing. Understanding is understanding.
Yeah.
The girlfriend. So your girlfriend shouldn't understand.
All right. So let's take dreads. Yeah.
But let me come to say a woman not compassionate or
are they ready to take to take a sensitive man who is not stoic?
Emotional. Nobody is stoic. It's a condition.
Do you agree? Dreads.
Well, stoicism is a word, right?
Yeah.
So
all right, stoicism is a word. Yeah.
Stoicism is a word. So maybe someone could be stoic, but if you go on the surface, they're not so stoic. But it's the front, right? Is what they give out. But just listening to all of this, I know your question was about sensitivity, but I'm thinking back to Segun's comment around the provider. And interestingly, as men on your podcast, we've gone back to that word because that is the core for us. That is the main thing that if that thing rocks, it affects our mental health, given the environment both Segun and I have been brought up in. Yes, I'm in a different place, but I still am anchoring to my upbringing, right? And if you take it back 100 years ago, right? Yeah. Even especially for an Igbo man, the man has to be a provider. Like you're not taking my daughter home if you don't have a yam in your bag, right? You're not taking my daughter home if you don't have an OB, you don't have a hut, you don't have a house, you don't have a farm. So this thing runs deep.
Okay.
And this is how we've been programmed. So I think in terms of, I'll come on to sensitivity, but in terms of mental health and imbalance, not being a provider is a chronic one, especially in the economic condition Nigeria finds itself. Like I said, in my country here, different. But if you come to sensitivity, I think if I'm trying to be fair, and maybe I'm dancing around the subject, but if I'm trying to be fair, I think a woman can deal with a sensitive guy, but sensitivity at the right time.
What is the right time?
Yeah, so
before we started recording, Sheka said something about the right time. That there's nothing like the right time.
Yeah, okay. Let me I guess elaborate on that. We're human beings. We have weak moments. And I'd like to think my partner is understanding of me, and in certain weaknesses, I can have a conversation and I can be sensitive, but she also needs me. The role I play in my own personal household is also to be a provider, to be a support system for my wife. And there are times when she needs me to be that support system. So I can't be sensitive all the time. Maybe I'm being extreme here. Do you get me?
Yeah.
As in, you're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct.
I just can't be sensitive all the time. Yes, I can show weakness. I can talk about my fears, my doubts. I need to have a partner that I could do that with. But Madam want me to be strong at certain points, at certain crucial points. Maybe then I will show the sensitivity. Because if I keep not turning up at those times that matter for her, and this will be homework for you ladies to go and define those times that matter for you. If I keep being sensitive at those times and not being that shoulder to cry on, then there's a problem.
Segun, you wanted to say something?
No. See, what you just said is, so the first thing first is general sensitivity. You know, being strong and being weak is sensitivity. You understand? But in the sense of this discussion, so you want to define, am I sensitive to the feelings of my wife? My wife wants to be a support system, to be a man, so to speak. I don't go negative sensitivity, man. I go just man up, chin up, for her. But you see the thing, why I said maybe there's no timing, you understand? Because why I said that was they want to define the time. Onyema just helped with explaining and defining that
time. Okay.
Because you must know the person that you're dealing with. So if, for example, maybe I'll give you a clear scenario. You are not in the house and there's a fire incident. They call you and say there's fire. You don't start shouting at them.
Madam.
You say, so what did you do that caused the fire? That's very, very sensitive. Some men will do it though. Not putting fault for anybody. But at that point in time, is for me, my default action is I'm on the way. You call someone or as if they put out. Is everybody safe? Move everybody out of that. I am moving to the supportive part, the sensitive in quote, being there, protective. Do you understand? Now, you see that thing about timing. Some people will now say, maybe you should have just said, I'm on my way. No action. That's why
that kind of. So I have a question. Sensitive and be aware and be present in every relationship, and not base our relationship by what the society has says. Yeah.
The person might not be hands-on, so you need to find a
solution to that. All right, so I'm going to ask both of you a question, and Dreads, because you've experienced both sides, I want you to answer first, and then Shegs would give us the Niger or Ondo Port Harcourt thing. Okay, so let's talk about modeling and mentoring that you guys that you started this conversation with in the first place, where you talked about conditioning and all that, because that's basically what modeling and mentorship is. All right, so I have a question about that. Did any of you, either of you, have such conversations with your fathers or the authority figures? And we'll take just a moment. I don't think we can take a minute, but a moment to pay homage to Dre's dad. All right, he's no longer with us. Oh. Jack's father too, he's dead. My father too is dead. Oh well. So,
but we need to pay special homage.
Yes, we need to Dre's dad. Yes.
He served this country.
Yes.
People that serve it to me in a thing that really, it wasn't for.
Yeah.
Serve this country. That they give his life to serve this country.
Yeah. Yeah. So we therefore had to. Was it a colonel general before he
a major?
A major Njamma, right?
Major.
Yeah, major Njamma.
Major.
That was a major in a major incident.
Let's not even go into that incident, because that is going to trigger. I know for sure it's going to trigger in Njamma Dread. So let's just go.
Exactly what we are talking about. You know what we are talking about?
Yeah.
No. He won't cry. The reason is, I'm sure nobody has put it the way I put it. And I'm sure he doesn't even know that we know this deep.
Yeah. We should just explore it. So the question was going to be...
It's for him to talk about me. I pay the respect. I acknowledge it and I understand it.
All right. Okay, so I know that three of us are speaking over everyone who's listening's head right now. So Major Njamma, Dread's father, was in that air crash that happened back in 1992. We were in school when we all heard, and we had a couple of, I think the Odaches also lost their parents in that crash in 1992. If you are a Nigerian and you are older than 45, you know about that crash in 1992, and Mr. Njamma wasn't there. Was
If
there?
If you're not older than that, you can start on video.
Just Google about the
Mm.
crash.
It's in history.
Is in history, and we watched. Funny enough, Onyema was in a group of friends of somebody that was close to my boyfriend at the time. There's no need to be even my boyfriend at the time, so they were all close at the time, and I can remember how you actually walk through that time with Adora. And Dora, hi, if you're listening, at the time. So it leads me back to the modeling thing. Okay, so before he transitioned, how he transitioned, and all of that, how did that affect and impact on you as a man, as a father, as a husband? Oh, as a husband, as a man, a husband, and then a father. And then I'll ask Segun that too.
Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for the kind words. Thank you. And interestingly enough, and I'll come on to this, it was traumatic, like anyone losing a dad or a mom. Even if your dad grows to be 100 or 120, it's still your mom and your dad and the way I coin it is they're the mediums and the vessel through which you came into being. So very important regardless of their age. The phrase I use for my dad's passing is, there was a ripple or there was a tear in the fabric of my existence, right? So these words I can use now because I've had a lot of therapy around this stuff. And I can say that openly because it did impact me. When it happened, I was a child, right? And so you don't know the consequences of not having the mentoring, Timishe, you're talking about, not having the guidance. The anchors or my North Star at the moment in terms of being a provider or trying to be a provider or how I behave as a dad and a husband is from observations. So observing is actually quite important. It speaks more volume than the talking. So I saw my dad's actions, right? I saw mom doing her best as well, but dad was in the military, like I said. So a roof over our head was provided. Certain things were given. So in my head, there's a crystallization of the fact that he's a provider, right? So all good. But as I then went on my own journey to key points in my life when I needed to have that conversation, like when I got married, oh yeah, it would be nice to talk to my dad about not how you deal with a woman, but how you manage conflict.
How you manage conflicts, yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
how you manage conflict. And also then you become a father. And you go, whoa. And for me, that was the biggest. There were periods where I then felt that strong urge to just speak to him. Like, I'm a dad now. I've got a daughter. I've got a son. What was your experience, Dad, bringing us up? It would be nice to hear from you. So those are the bits where I think I then went on my journey, and we'll come on to this in terms of men not speaking out. I'll be honest, it still took me a while before I spoke out. But when I did, I found the right person to have these conversations with. And we went on a dissecting mission. Like, we took it way back to, so I know that's been my own journey. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I must say, okay, of course, most people who know me know that I'm a coach, and I grill dreads. Trust me. I grill him. I grill him a lot, and it's been beautiful. So, Segun, for you.
No, there was no sit down.
Guys, Segun is from Ondo, so pardon him.
Even this the thought of sitting down, sir, never came. I can remember the only time maybe my dad sat me down was one time when I was about finishing university and said, first son.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's remembering him now, what the river said actually got me emotional. I would have loved for him to be here, to talk through this thing now, because I think I understand it now. That they were conditioned.
True.
And it was worse. The condition it was worse in the time. We are now being enlightened because we choose to. I think we even have we have a little bit of control over our consumption. So there was never a sit down. The only thing I did, which is what to him I said, is I saw him do. All I was my dad, and like I was telling you, my dad was the third of 8.
But yet he was there.
In fact, he was doing so much for all that. Till today, I'm self-reliant and don't ask anybody.
If anything,
I do it myself. And the same thing my sibling. That's what we learned. So there was no sit down. Now my mom would call me almost every day. She said, I'm fine.
So what would you guys do differently as fathers? Or what are you doing differently as fathers? Yeah.
So let's get this time. In case somebody hears this, in another year, this is 2024. I'm a father of girls.
Only girls?
Yeah.
Ah, long way. God catch you. Segun, God catch you. Go ahead.
A soon to be 15-year-old in October. A soon to be 7-year-old on Sunday.
Wow. So amazing.
And see me that I know deliberately, I know their best colors. I know everything about my children. I know the kind of things that are turning on in my daughter's head. In terms of men, sex, all that. I know.
Wow.
Because we talk.
Nice.
Every single day. When there was this bullying thing,
that was,
going around. She got back from plan, I sat down. Me, my dad just looked at me and said, Daddy, don't worry. It can never be me.
Okay, good.
I said, how do you know that that's what I wanted to talk about? He said, we know now. So the thing is, what I give them is they know that I'm their father. It's clear. But I'm trying to make them understand what a father is much more than that name. A father, a friend, a confidant, a gist partner, and a play partner.
Oh, nice.
In fact, my wife says it. Yeah, if you ask, he loves his children more than it.
Yeah. Sorry.
He says it's on a regular. Yeah. What I always tell her that is impossible. Because this speed you don't grow things.
They just grow.
Many things I don't feel change for your head. Just advice. It's true.
Segun, I swear, always. You complete always.
Many things you don't feel change for their head because they don't already.
At all.
You go don't manage. That's when the management come in. But you see these children, I could try to change them for their head. How my parents accuse me. My daughter that is always going to be she doesn't have the mobile phone. But if it's all the gadgets on the surface of this earth she has.
But just laptop, not a mobile phone.
But a SIM card.
You're not getting it. All right. So what are you doing differently, Dreads? Dreads is Onyema, by the way. Yeah.
Differently. I think one thing I'll say.
So you can't be saying
yeah. One thing I'll say I'm doing similarly. Very, very important is I think now that I'm older, and maybe it's a story I've told myself, but I feel it strongly that I was loved. Like my dad loved me, loved Ada, loved Chima, loved Uzo. I was loved. And that gives me so much energy, regardless of the absence, right? Regardless of the lack of time, which I'll come on to, because these officers, dad comes home, sleeps, goes to mess. We don't see him. Officers mess if you're a military guy. Yeah. So I didn't get to spend enough time with him. And maybe it's a Nigerian thing, but one beautiful thing about the UK or the sort of group or the people I associate myself with or people I observe is they spend a lot of time with their children. Maybe to a fault, but it's beautiful. Yeah. They go for their plays, they go for football. Even when their children are at university, they go every other Sunday to have breakfast with them, even if they live in a different town. And to me, say, I know you do this with your kids. So I see your pictures. So that's amazing. So I would say the love, the unconditional love, the amazement when you see your children, the bewilderment, that excitement, just show them they've got your attention, they've got your love. So that was similar. What was different, and maybe it's just because of the time, I'm not criticizing my father at all, is I wish I could spend more time with him. I remember I always have this memory of in the military, when you're a major and you're about to be promoted to a lieutenant colonel, you go to Kaduna, Jaji, for training. My mom sent me to stay with my dad for a whole week. It was just me and the man. And I carry that thing like a treasure, like in my mind, right? So time, so important. With
Let me add something.
Yes,
Talking about our parents, they're not making the excuses. I'm thinking back, I think they didn't want us to do them.
They wanted to be superhumans for us.
They didn't want us to be them. So I remember when my grandfather died, it was so monumental. I was at home for one day. In fact, we were trying to have a bonding time. It was in Port Harcourt. My father, school in the UK, did not want to be doing like, he wanted to try to do like, let me use, the word that just entered my mouth, a Ukarian.
Go ahead, Ukarian is fine.
Ukarian, I like this.
But the thing is, I don't know, man, that body.
You undoing him is strong.
So my dad would tell us, he wanted to build, so we moved into a new house. We built the downs, we're staying down. The up was vacant. And he called somebody to do burglary for me. I'll never forget. That's why I say memories. And he said, why are you charging me this? I can't do this. I used to do this when I was in school in the UK. He says, my soldiers, that's what he used to call me and my brother. We now went with him to buy iron rod. This is Nigeria. It's not UK that you go to Target. We went to where they sell iron rod, dirty. We bought iron rod, brought it home. We cut it, and we cut wood, and we did burglary. When we were doing that thing, they called him that is.
That was dead.
The way he dropped that thing, he picked it up again. And I told us, get out. Left up, came downstairs. He didn't speak to anybody, and went into our store. So, because my dad he's an engineer, he likes to innovate. He went into the store. When he came out of the store, there were holes on the wall.
He was punching at it. He was punching. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When he came out, tear.
Was it? You could see. So now, I know this about men. So I'm going to speak about my dad. And my dad, I've said in some fora, that men don't have the permission to feel. I think I said it that day when we were talking. But my father, as stoic and as undo as it was, there were two or three situations that I saw him break down. The first that I'm extremely aware of was when we lost my younger brother in 2004. I was in Makurdi serving, and when I got back, it was during camp, so I couldn't leave camp. So after camp, after I secured my everything, I got back. For the 1 week I stayed at home, my dad would kneel by Yano's bed and cry. He would cry. He would cry. He would cry. The second was when I was I'll say three. The second was when I was in labor, and he heard that for my first child, and he heard that my labor had been truncated for about 2 hours, and then he sent my mother to come pray for me. But my mother said when she got back, she saw my mother. She saw my mother in his Adamic nature, and he was telling God, "Take me, leave my child. Take me, leave my child." The third was when his wife died. When I told him, "Oh, your wife is gone," I saw light leave his eyes.
Yeah.
He didn't cry at the general hospital, but when we got home, he held my hand and gave a feral scream. Imagine a jaguar hurt, and it gave a feral. It was not cry. It was a scream, and he held my head to his chest. And it has, looking at my father, I have only brothers. I'm an only girl, and I have a son. It is what drives me to want to feed, to want to lead a campaign that gives permission for mentally to feel.
Exfoliate.
Like exfoliate.
Have you
That's so now.
a lot of women, I think they think the men just go to bars and just gather because they are chasing women. Almost 95% of the time, I just general talk when they talk.
So what you just said now is going to
Exactly.
Okay, so it's going to lead me to this because we need to wrap this. I don't want to keep because you guys need to get away.
No.
And so I want to ask this question around stigma. What do you think are the main barriers that prevent men from seeking help for mental health issues? Who wants to go first?
So we saying it.
Yes, I want to hear it clearly though.
So we're saying it. The stigma, not a man. You understand?
Chicago is so Nigerian dress, isn't it?
What did he say? I didn't hear.
I said, see, the thing is, he says, what are the barriers to taking help?
Mm-hmm.
Why are men stigmatized?
Well, yeah, that prevent men from seeking help for mental health issues. All right. So, what's your answer? Right.
They will tell you, be a man.
So that's the number one barrier. Be a man.
Say these days that don't cry.
Yeah, man.
In fact, the funny thing, they've conditioned men to the point that if water is coming down your eye, not cry.
Is what?
It's just water.
Sweating.
It's not emotion. You understand?
Okay. It's not identified. It's not labeled as emotion.
Check. You will hear do the survey. You ask some young people that I saw water coming. They will say no, it's not an emotion. So Michelle, I will tell you something. I watched something. A child. It was a podcast. They were asking the father, the son, and they are close. As in everybody knows that they are close. In fact, they're exemplary. Son, what is there something I've done? But maybe you couldn't tell me. I said, maybe we didn't really spend quality time together. When maybe time that I needed to speak with you, you always shut me off.
Wow.
Do you know the reaction of the father immediately?
He cried.
He was tearing. This is not scripted or anything. The son was saying, no, that is fine. This is the son
that I just finished talking.
You see?
Are you crying for this small thing? But because the man had internalized it to understand that was
truth that he failed that child at that point.
Probably because of these same factors that we're talking about.
Still.
But he teared and you know what he was saying?
I think I watched Dolu and his son doing that, and when he said, "I saw you and mom fight, and you guys kept it well, but I saw it," and and the Dolu senior was literally crying. That was another one.
My daughter will come. So I call her Yeye, as Yeye in Yoruba is
mother. Yeah.
I'll say, you can't say anything because truly, she actually didn't do anything to you. She probably just asked you a question that was wrong.
And you probably didn't have the answers.
Because of the tension, you couldn't calm down to answer. You just say, please, don't disturb me, go away. And you come back and say, what did I do?
That you asked me to go away.
That you told me to go away and you were shouting. Explain to me so that I don't do it again.
Okay, Dreads. So what will you be your answer to that question?
Repeat the question again. Define it clearly.
Is what do you think does not allow men to talk about mental health issues?
You see, I'm asking you to repeat it and define it because I'm stalling.
I know. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Segun said it all really. I think the challenge is getting to the bottom of all of this. But the one thing we always come back to, even here, even in the West here, even in Europe here, there is this statistics about, is it one, I can't remember what it was. I think it was one man takes his life every minute.
Yes.
60 every hour, something like that. So mental health, such a big deal. Speaking up is a difficult thing. It's difficult because of the conditioning. The conditioning is if you speak up, you're seen to be weak. And if you then look at the stereotypes or the generalization, if we watch most war movies, be it medieval or be it current wars, when the leader, a man, most times, stands on a podium to speak, to address people, portrays strength, stoicism, no chink, absolutely 100% oozing of strength, and then you get a following. I see men, even those that follow, I see men conditioned in that way, that for you to lead your household, given the culture, for you to lead your household, like, for example, if I'm focusing on Niger, to lead your household, you have to be a symbol of strength. And to be a symbol of strength, there's no weakness. Speak about what? Your emotions? Seriously? No. That almost brings you down a notch, or that's the perception that brings you down a notch from this pedestal. Yeah? So that is the biggest challenge. However, I would counter that and say, okay, yes, speak up, but you choose how you speak and how you heal, because in the healing gives you clarity and direction to actually lead properly. Yeah.
Word, I have to say.
Yeah. We're going to end with how do we.
No, I'm going there's a question, and I'm going to ask you this question. So I would ask the questions, and I would leave it for you to either of you to pick the ones you want to answer. So here's question: personal reflections. 1, how was your understanding of mental health evolved over the years? The second question is, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with their mental health? So who's going to answer what?
I can take anyone, but let me. I've always answered first, but I'll do it.
Onyema, go ahead. Which one are you going to answer? Do you want me to ask the question again? Okay.
No. The first one is how has the sort of understanding of mental health evolved over the
your own understanding of mental health.
I think my understanding has taken leaps and bounds, I'll be honest. And I go back and I tell it like a story in terms of my journey, and people that have changed their place of abode will know this. I mentioned it in the recording. There was trauma leaving Nigeria to move to a different country. Even if I'm being chased or even if I'm looking for greener pastures, there's always trauma in that. There's trauma losing a dad, there's trauma losing a brother. And most of these things we don't talk about, right? You carry all of these things on your journey until the body actually says, I can't do it anymore. And the mind says, I can't do it anymore. And you get these warning signs. And for me, I did get those signs. And in that, getting the signs and the signals, there was then a reluctance to go speak to someone because of my conditioning. But in having those conversations and exploring those conversations to gain a better understanding of why these things are happening to me, why I'm feeling a certain way, has taken me on a crazy journey of understanding. And I'm still on that journey. I probably am not 50% the way there, because not only is it to do with my loss of sibling and dad and Nigerian environment, there is also a cultural element which we haven't even dissected on this podcast, like the way Igbos, the expectation of an Igbo man is different from the expectation of a Yoruba man.
Yeah,
right?
very correct, very correct.
And some of those expectations are warped and I would say have issues with them, but it actually favors the society. So this is a whole different podcast.
Okay, so that's a whole different conversation, isn't it?
Yeah. So
yeah. Grateful we did double into
oh no,
traditional argument.
no, we're not. I wouldn't do that to you guys. If you want to, but
environment. You know, from the beginning, I mentioned environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are you done, Onyema?
Right? Yes, I am.
Okay. So your question is, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with their mental health? A man, particularly. Mm-hmm. You feel speak up for bitch, you know what?
Speak up anyhow. Me, I need the advice.
Yeah.
Hello?
It exists.
Number one, it exists. Can you hear me?
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Number one, it exists. Number two, no be cause. Number three, don't blame yourself saying you get up. Number four, don't say you must get up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because the thing, see, let's be human. Remove the fact that you are providing. Just put the fact that you are existing. In any climate, there are things that will bring you down. And when those things happen, if you don't want to accept that it will happen to you, or it exists, you don't start ascribing it to another thing. Spiritual.
Traditional.
Village people. No. Now, most times, the only person that can bring you out from any mental illness, any, is yourself.
Wow.
Because this is the wonderful thing, about the universe. I don't want to mention anything.
Go ahead.
It's a being. Once you look at it, you get head, you get heart, you get everything. Once you know and you agree, anything, once you know that this is the problem, you start shifting towards solution. And how can you do that as a man? Identify the things that are important to you. Starting not from the outsides, start from the inside. Remember from the beginning I said, when you grow, the condition to take care of your immediate family, which is your siblings and all that and all. Then you now move, you now take care of
the immediate family that you are. After your
immediate family, you're conditioned. There's no point that you were conditioned to take care of yourself. No point.
True.
That's why the woman is the one that will come and take care of you.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Wahala.
Did you hear that, Dreads?
Take care of yourself. You find out that you are taking care of the woman. It is clear. That's why in the climb that Onyema is talking about, the condition is different. The condition is saying take a break, go for a vacation. When you are going to take those drinks, let your wife sit down with you sometimes and take the break. When you're emotional, at those times that Onyema mentioned, you can be, but nobody, in all the conditioning that they give in Africa, the only thing you do is you just keep on duplicating. When you get married, you're still not taking care of yourself. So you take care of
other people,
but
to yourself.
Take care of your wife's family. When do you want to take care of yourself? When you die?
the
Dreads,
call to
his-
service.
Dreads, he's shaking tables again, isn't it? Isn't he?
He's scattering table.
Because
Yeah.
But he's speaking about the culture there, which we
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
mention.
Exactly.
But there is that culture of convenience
no,
that
no,
ingrains in you.
so you
that
see
you-
that makes you don't think about yourself.
Mm.
It gives you a facade as if you're thinking about yourself. So when you have to get married, they tell you, see, this is the facade.
That programming.
Yeah, you're the
Again, they
man.
programmed us.
Yeah, you're the man. So they'll be telling you you're
Yeah.
the man. You control the family. You say, don't do that. You do not control the family. You man control the family. If that woman will off you, that one second. Now inside water, nice your offing mechanism. You don't go. 1 second, and nobody go trace up. Nobody go. 1 second.
Any leg remain for this table.
Oh, legs still there.
I'm going to tell you this one, which is funny.
Mm.
You think you are not vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
The woman that sees you naked, which vulnerability? They go tell you something you don't want to vulnerable.
As you not great speak English again like this, it don't vex.
It don't break her now. Oh my God.
Yep.
Because the thing is, they happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Now, we just don't say he exists.
Mm.
He did.
Mm.
Then, that make me come think. I use that word when we dey chat for this thing, third
Mhm.
party.
Yes.
Comot yourself from the problem. That's it. Maybe I dey talk like this now because na wetin I dey do for a living, for work. You know, part of my work, you need to be psychological, mental.
And whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
I always tell people, maybe people that not read about it, neuro-linguistics programming.
NLP.
Mm-hmm. NLP.
The method, everybody just needs to understand that it's a method for you to dialogue with somebody. You don't see somebody from front say, I don't like this person. Now that mental problem be that. We don't know. Because the people never do anything. You just decide.
So you not like him again.
You don't start from mental problem. Then maybe when you guys go talk, you don't really badmouth the person.
Mm.
Because that is certain way they don't give you, don't they change. So for men, be deliberate. That is it, be carried. But no. Say, my mind, they talk that and say, to be man, not be manhood. Not be to get manhood.
Away.
To be
Dreads is
Mhm.
gone there.
to
Mm-hmm.
get manhood.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It be like saying that now the podcast even just start. As our uncle wants to
Uh-huh.
wrap
Not
up.
be to get
Baba
womanhood.
Shege
Don't be
don't change the
womanhood.
language.
I get her. Yeah.
But work on them. Like, and we don't know. Don't be carrying this back in there. They have that one.
Yes, we do. If we're not careful.
You know, but there's one great thing that nobody ever talking about in mind. Nobody know where it is. But it's different from mine. That's why they say the sixth sense, which is all end for back. Let us know it exists, or state it at our end.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have it.
Mhm.
It is not.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody say you are not mentally stable,
Mm-hmm.
go check.
Mm.
Don't be insult. Don't
Mm.
be stupid. But if I tell you say you stupid, tell you that. So that don't be insult. Don't be insult.
Oh my
Don't
God.
be insult.
But who give you the diagnosis? You need to
Same,
check the
it's
person
still
who give you the
Check that.
diagnosis.
You check, say, who give that person will give you diagnosis. Maybe when you go check, you go find out say you're supposed to be pity.
Nah.
You understand?
Okay.
What happens is just slip into
Anger. Yeah.
and the emotion where you're supposed to slip into say, yeah.
And another whole conversation is how we label what we feel and what emotion is. That's another whole conversation. I'm going to get somebody else to talk about that. Yeah. Yes.
But
Say something. Our biggest problem is when they mention illness,
Mm-hmm.
it's an abomination. Especially when it's mental. They say mental before they put illness.
We don't go. Don't mad be that.
Yeah. Sometimes mental illness is triggered from medical. Person don't go through miscarriage how many times?
Yeah.
But you want make
There's no how it not be mental now. He will be mental. Okay, so because I'm a linguist, I'm very careful with words. In as much as I understand this colloquialism and all of that, I'm extremely careful with words. And we've gone past 90 minutes. You guys will be shocked.
No problem.
We've got like that.
I've been looking at the time, but the thing
yeah.
Better.
Yes, you said so. You. Okay. Yeah, no. So, dreads. I'm gonna put you on the spot for a moment. Do you mind?
Dear.
Do you
Go
mind?
on,
Don't
Yeah.
worry. It's not something that is going. Okay, because of course, mental health care. No, don't worry. Mental health care in Nigeria is developing, and because I'm also very active in that space, I know how much developing it is doing. And so I want you to do the call to action for this particular episode. It's two men. How can men take action to support their own mental health or mental ill health and the people around them? And I ask you because I know you, and this is, I'm not trying to break confidence, but I know that you are actively working to evolve mentally. So, what pointers are you going to give to the listeners on how to support their own mental health and the people around them? Men. And the women will love them.
Men so, given that this is a call to action, I guess I'll speak to men directly and say, extremely important to have self-love. Baba Shege has talked about it. Number one thing, take care, take time out. And I do this. I try to do this once a week. Tumisha, you know me, I'm always in the woods. I'm walking, I've got my cup of coffee. Take time out and check in on yourself. Very important. Secondly, speak to a professional. Yes, there may still be stigma that exists, but honestly, the outcome of having this conversation, the outcome of really understanding yourself and making yourself stronger for you and your family outweighs any ridicule, in quotes, you might receive for speaking out. And I can testify to that. So speak up, find a professional, get the help, start the conversations, and then you will see that it would help you to go on a fantastic healing journey and actually help you become the person you're meant to be. Because we as men, I know we've talked about providing, maybe in that Nigeria setting, it's actually not a burden most times. It's a privilege. We enjoy it. It's part of our programming. We enjoy it. What then makes it even more beautiful is to get the support around it, to get the understanding around it, because that's just our sort of calling. So I'll say two things. I'd say three things, but actually maybe I'll do three. The first one is self-care, self-love. Second one, speak to a professional. Third one, and I think Nigerians do this very well, very, very well. And I'm almost here in the UK looking enviously at you guys. Always check in, catch up with friends, have that social downtime. We don't have it in the UK. If I'm organizing a barbecue, it has to be 3 months in advance. And I have to allow for that 30% of the people won't come on the day. Whoa. I can't just come to knock on Baba Shege's door on a Friday night and say, guy, what you they do? Make we go chop pepper soup for corner. No. I have to text, organize, poll, find dates, arrange time. But in Nigeria, this is done beautifully. Just continue to maintain that social cohesion. So self-love, speak to professional, be social.
Final, Segun, and this has to be in like 2 minutes. What do you hope for the future? What do you hope for the future of men's health awareness and support in Nigeria?
Like the keyword awareness, support. Those keywords. The thing is, we need to be deliberate.
Okay.
That's just the we need to be deliberate. As men, some of us that are aware that this exists and it's going to linger is, to find ways to talk to men, and support forums that help create this awareness, and you're a man. By nature, you're a man. There's nothing that will reduce you from being a man.
Nothing's gonna change that. What a way to round that up. You are a man. Nothing is going to change that. Not your mental health status or ill health status, not your pocket, not your ability to win women or not. You are a man, and that is final. Nothing is going to change that. I wish everyone could embrace that. Thank you guys, appreciate it. I was looking through. I wrote some appreciate some posts last year, and it just occurred to me that both of you were the people that I mentioned in the post. You read the book and you said that you said the book was supposed to be a living book, and this guy has been hounding me for a second book. Don't worry, you get a second book. And of course, Dreads has been such an amazing friend, and all of us have been together since we were 11. Since we were 11.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So good, so good. Thank you guys. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love your country. Above all of this, love God is the essence of your being. Share this podcast with someone that you believe needs it, and let's love our men. All right, love your boys too. Love your boys, love your men. Help them understand.
Care for them.
Shako is in his element. Don't mind him. Ask them what love means to them. Okay, do not love them the way you think they want to be loved. Ask them what love means to them, how they want to be loved, and it will be smoother, I believe. Right? Okay, so don't think that all men want this. Not all men want hugs and the default, as Segun said.
That's small. My wife just asked me, which food do you want me to buy for you? That's small. But I know you like this one, but it's becoming too much.
Too much. What do you think? Something else?
Just
as we are talking like this. Oh,
so can you see how only that one said don't do and they go out?
See, you need to see how his face lighted. Oh my! All right, thank you guys. And that was the conversation with Onyema and Segun. I hope that you are more convinced to attend a fight for life, and that a fight for life is imperative for such a time as this in history. November the 23rd, 2024 at the Rembrandt Hotel. Register to attend today for yourself, your friends, and for the ladies listening. Get this as a gift for your man, the man that you love, or the man that you love, as in your father, your brothers, and all of that man that you love. Until next time, love yourself, love your neighbor, love your country. Above all of this, love God. He is the essence of your being. I am Oluwatomishi Oladapo Kuku. Stay curious.